Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of RTE Recapping the Elite. We are here today recapping a pay-per-view. We're only about 12 hours removed from first pay-per-view to take place outside of Daly's place since the COVID pandemic. Talking about AEW All Out 2021. What'd you think?
Is probably the is the best show of the year for pay-per-views. I'll be more frank. I'm honest about I have not watched any other promotions besides some of the GCW stuff we talked about during episode 2 of the recapping the Elite, but the idea of this is why I want to do a podcast, and obviously the idea of like saying yes to do this show with you, that this is the tier of AEW I'm used to talking about or like seeing on their TV, and then to see that they still delivered after 3 weeks of lackluster showings on their TV program. That's what we're talking about through all these episodes. They might not be able to handle the before the pay-per-view, but the pay-per-view delivered tenfold. I was amazed.
One thing when you said other pay-per-views, I just want, in case anyone had a question, I'll tell you in the beginning to skip. When Moxley came down, a lot of people noticed he was wearing a hoodie that said GCW. That's my company, Game Changer Wrestling. The night before, well, Game Changer's smart. They piggyback off things. So in Chicago, they ran a couple shows on Friday, ran a couple shows Saturday. They ran a couple afternoon shows and a morning show Sunday. So to all get that crowd, well, the big one was Saturday. It was called the Art of War Games, which was their first ever War Games pay-per-view, which was amazing. I mean, bloodbath. I've never seen a War Games where the ropes are intertwined with fucking light tubes and there's glass in there. And it was a big blow-off of the MDK 44OH 2-year feud. But at the end, Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder, Mr. Woo Woo, came down dressed like the Macho King because he's the champ. He's been doing this gimmick where he calls somebody out. I picked my opponent the best in the world. It was the fucking douche that dates Noelle Foley, that Frank the Clown. He comes down as a pop, 1, 2, 3. So then, he does the old shtick. Nobody can beat me. I'm better, and G-Raver comes down. And G-Raver, I like G-Raver, but the entrance, this company is not WWE, so he has the low-rent Undertaker entrance where there's like 7 druids come down. Cardona, calls him out. G-Raver leaves. He beats up all the druids. There's one druid behind him. Bam, 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 paradigm shift. 1, 2, 3. Druid wins the belt, takes off the hood. It's Moxley. So and Moxley's now their champ, which culminated in Nick Gage. As you remember, fans, if you only know him from slicing up Jericho, he came out, I want my fucking belt back. And they're going to have a big death match on October the 9th. I wanted to point that out. That's why Moxley had the GCW, which I think is great because Janela, we know, is a big man in GCW. He's also in AEW. Ricky Shane Page is doing stuff for AEW. I'm really liking how AEW is working with these smaller companies. I really enjoy it because you can have those quote unquote dream matches like a Moxley versus a Gage in a death match. Maybe we'll get to see Marco Stunt bring his brother Logan Stunt, who's just as tall, from Game Changer.
Oh, really?
Him, yeah. I mean, it's and a lot of guys Marco was scouted from I have the match. I have to think of the name of the show. It was a 4-way match or 4 or 5-way match. He tore the house down, and the Elite guys saw it and they're like, "Fuck, let's hire this little guy." Unfortunately, he doesn't ever fucking wrestle though. He just stands there.
He did do a spot at the pre-show.
He did, and he got launched. I'm a Marco Stunt guy, Mr. Fun Size. I love Marco.
Yeah, me too.
Now the pay-per-view. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm a big fan. I do like to know why they've been carrying, like he hasn't wrestled. Is it injury? Like, is he just more recovering and he can?
No, he wrestled just 2 weeks ago with Janela on, I believe that was the No Signal in the Hills show. They do like a couple shows a week. It gets hard to keep up because my son watches all of them. Him and Janela teamed up, and no, Marco was all over the place. And the crowd, they're super into Marco. He's like,
I wonder why they're not pushing more trios with Jurassic Express. I know that they're trying to like it'd just be a good way to keep them hot, but also like, you know, keep them on that back burner of, because obviously Lucha Brothers got the title. So, but the idea, like, I like when the whole team's wrestling. Like, you don't have to go Jurassic Express and Marco Stunt. I thought Jurassic Express is with Marco Stunt. So I'm like, that's why I'm like, I like him at those first couple matches when he was in AEW before he got even Mr. Fun Size really going on, when he was walking around the ring and he looks like just like a big chicken because of how small he is. He just just got like, I liked when he was doing his like what I would call like a flare strut in there, like I'm ready, like he's ready to fight. But he's never been the same since Lance Archer threw him out the fucking ring.
And when he's out on the apron, as you know, the hype man, like you said, doing all this and all this, his head barely touches that bottom rope. So
I know he can't even hit the ground. He has to go like, his elbows are going past the ring. Like he can't extend it, smack the ring.
But a Game Changer even references sometimes when his brother Logan looks just like him, same size, everything. When he fights, they're like, yep, old poor Logan's over here with us because his brother Marco making all that big money in AEW doesn't have time for him. Like, I wonder how Mama stunt, brother stunt, Papa stunt. You know, I like how they reference it. So it'd be neat one day, somebody beats him up, Mark, and they do kind of like what Bob Holly did with Crash. Marco's like, I'm calling him my big brother Logan, and it's the guy that's the same size. I would get a pop. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
He's a talented guy. He's fucking small. I mean, I could punt him across the ring.
But yeah, we'll see. Is like you said, the opportunities there, and maybe with Dynamite, maybe with Rampage, after we get all these weird promotional things, we'll see how. Again, I'm ready to see post pay-per-view how those shows are going, especially Rampage, how it's going to be run.
Well, they got a hot match for Rampage this week. Pac and Andrade. They're supposed to fight at the pay-per-view, and the real reason, which I believe, Pac, like we said on the other shows, dumbass went to England, quarantine, couldn't get over. I would never have said that. I would have had Andrade come to the ring. His opponent's not there. Count him out. If he ain't here, I'm there. And then you find out, oh my God, somebody fucked with his travel arrangements, because Chavo kind of hinted at that. And during his interview, he's like, I don't know anybody at American Airlines. I don't even know he flew on American Airlines, like that. So make an angle out of it. They because the guy just looks like a fucking doof now, because that happened to him in the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah, no, yes, because what was it? He was there last Wednesday, and then he just oops. Like it goes into that idea of like, I'm not saying Pac's a bad worker, but the idea of like, you need to have that mentality of if you're working across the pond, you have to make arrangements. Like you might have to maybe, and also maybe Tony needs to more step up and go like, you know what? I need to connect the dots, and then you're getting paid, but also I'm going to give you a free room. All that shit, all the things we discussed. But that gives another dirty stuff. I'm like that pay-per-view. I listened to the pop at the end, which we'll get into, but I was watching it before I got onto the Zoom. Oh man, it was a great show. I think before we get into it, do you think shooting all your secret loads in one show is good, or do you think they should have held back?
Normally I would say hold back, but the way they did it was perfect. It couldn't have been booked any better. So, because usually it's like, oh my God, it's him, but I don't care. This is so awesome. And then the other one, it couldn't have been, they couldn't have planned it any better. They had a hot crowd, and I really liked it, because I really think that because of how hot the cage match was, the crowd's energy had nowhere to go but down. I mean, they were still kind of alive, but I mean, my son jumped out of his chair, he landed on his ass. I mean, I popped, I mean, but that match was almost, you were exhausted after it. It was almost like, and then they still had, I mean, we'll get into it here, but it should have been, I don't think the show was paced good enough. That, I understand why the heavyweight title, I understand that's important. That's got to close it. You had the angle at the end, which is a way to close it. Nothing was following that cage match. Absolute Punk couldn't follow that cage. Nothing could follow that. That was one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. I would say, I guess how we discuss it, because we'll break it down. We'll start showing the vibe, but I think that was the perfect spot. And then how they went, it was a lot. There was 2 bathroom matches after that, but also I think it's that recharge. I think people are drinking Gatorades, getting ready for round 2, and you had time because of these matches, and like it was just. They were smart also, because it sounds dumb how I'm going to say it, because the cage match happened after the women's battle royale, right?
Third,
It was either the third or
no,
fourth.
it happened
match.
right. It happened before it. It happened right after Britt Baker's.
Really? Okay, then they were smart on Britt, but we'll get into it. I think there's some things into this that I was wow. And like that cage match is a 5 out of 5 for me. And there was, I don't think, I don't know. There's nothing around it that can compare, even on like, it's hard to think of other matches that I've witnessed or watched. Like there are spots that compare, but also at the same time, nothing compares to that whole match. That was a great match. Oh my God. But yeah, I guess we'll get into the pre-show, and then we'll get this baby rolling.
The pre-show, they do, of course, your typical little 30-minute countdown, same one that aired after Rampage, little video packages, blah, blah, no one cares. But they open with a good match. They opened with the Chuck Taylor, and Trent's gone, and they had Wheeler Yutan still in this place. I fucking hate Wheeler Yutan. I see no talent in him. I hate that he's just a placeholder for Trent. I get it, but I fucking hate it. So you had Wheeler, Chuck, Orange is there, Jurassic Express with Marco, and they team up to fight the Hardy family, which was Angelico and Jack Evans, who I really like, Private Party, and Matt Hardy. And the whole story is Matt wants payback on Orange, because I don't know that I still don't see that going anywhere, but the crowd was hot. It was a fun little opener. You get all the nice spots. An old indie spot that they used to do in Chikara when Chuck E. T was over there is that one of the ants, where every single guy has a submission on somebody else, a nice little comedy spot. And, and I liked it. Everybody got to show off a little bit. Orange got the hands in the pockets. Everybody got to shine, which I liked. It was a nice, 10 minutes maybe. Good opener. It was a very good opener. Really got the crowd, brought them to life real early on.
We also got that right too, but we knew that somebody from Jurassic Express was going to get the pin, and they obviously Jungle Boy got the pin, and then also it was the start, which totally irrelevant compared to the rest of the show, but it was a showing that the Butcher came back finally. So I'm happy. So hopefully with the Butcher not hurt, hopefully maybe they'll separate from the Hardy family sooner than later, because I liked the Butcher and the Blade when they were like that weird, just strange out of strangers with the bunny. But then he got hurt. I think, didn't the Young Bucks kind of hurt him on accident with that chair?
Is that when he got hurt? Because he was out for a while.
Yeah. So, but I'm glad to see the Butcher back. And then even Marco got a spot, like we said, and like it was a fun opener. And it was a good buy-in.
Kind of a high-flying comedy match. But at the end, then they set it up where, for some odd reason, and you knew this was going to happen, because Jurassic Express leaves to leave the best friends in Orange to celebrate by themselves, which makes no sense. But then the Blade comes out, the Butcher, they hit fucking Orange, and Angelico was gonna, or Evans, I don't remember which one, was teasing like he was gonna fucking Brutus to Barber. He's gonna cut a little bit of Orange's hair, but then the Jurassic Express came back, because I don't know what the fuck they left, and they run him off, and then everybody gets to pose. You get the big group hug where the camera goes like that. And but everybody was happy. It gave him a nice chance. This was a good match. Now let's go before the actual show starts. We got a few minutes. Let's it was a good opener. I actually, to be honest with you, I would have rather seen that on the main card than the Casino Battle Royal. But then again, that had a surprise, so I kind of understand why it was paced like that.
They were, well, I agree, and then also at the same time, without the Andrade incident, that was going to be on the buy-in, so that reveal was prepared for the buy-in too. So it was hard. I do wonder if maybe not. They probably would still do the same outcome, but I was wondering if if they would have changed the winner of that if it was on the buy-in. But no, it worked. That worked too. That spot worked too. So either way, I think to keep the main pay-per-view, have another little pop after that cage match was a good call.
And I'm going to make as Mr. Perfect, the late Mr. Perfect would say, I'm going to make a perfect prediction. The return of Trent will take place at Daly's place because they have where the cars can drive up. Something's going to be happening during this big thing, and you're going to hear, and I know that horn, and Trent gets out of the van, because that never gets old. He'll get out of the van. That's my prediction. I'm not sure when, because his neck was fused. His return will be at Daly's place when Sue will drive him there.
Yes, it writes itself.
Yeah, it's then everybody calmed down, and they opened. I'm gonna say I was pleasantly surprised how good this match was. They opened with the TNT title, God's favorite champion, Miro, who I say it again, I'll say it every week. I miss the best man. He comes down, and here comes Kingston wearing the Redeem These Nuts shirts. Good, solid big man match. Stiff, worked hard. The crowd was so into Kingston. It was insane how over he was. And Kingston worked his ass off. Miro always does. They had a hell of a good match. I was surprised how good their match, because I always said when it goes ding ding, I always think Eddie's not that good. But god damn, they tore it up.
I think they did a really good spot. And then also I think it involves what is it? I think I even tweeted you, Eddie looked like he runs a little bit like a drunk uncle at a barbecue. When he was even trying to run through running from the side of the rope or go through the ropes. But I think he might have needed like that Miro, a big man, to catch him to make him look good. And it was a really good, and probably the best spot for this match. Get it out and over with. I think it did really well. It kept the crowd. The crowd was into it. There was no quietness on this. And then I do like the idea also, besides the whole I got your neck stuff, but I do like seeing Miro had to end dirty to get over on Eddie, which is just good for story. It is good. And also, honestly, I'm glad that Miro retained, not because of that, but I think the TNT title deserves to be passed on the actual show. It was a good match, but I think there should be a title change of for the TNT belt only on the show. So I think it was really good though.
And Eddie beat his ass when Eddie was hitting him with those chops. You saw toward the end of the match, Miro's entire pec was just bruised and blood blistered. I mean, he said that's the chink in the armor. He worked it to Eddie, and you don't see a lot of people really sell like that. He worked that neck. He was hitting those spinning back fist, fucking Saito. He hit that DDT, and I like too how it ended where, like you said, Miro had to cheat because Eddie had it won, but the ref was stumble fucking around trying to put that pad back on. That Eddie looked strong, even though he still lost. Miro got to keep the belt. Eddie got real over, and it sets up possibly a rematch, between the two. Because, and I like, that's the one time I do kind of like a bit of a fuck finish because, like I said, they worked so good. And if he would have just put Kingston in the, whatever he calls it, the fucking camel clutch, and Kingston tapped out, the feud's done. So I kind of liked how this one ended. You can get a little bit more life out of it.
Yeah, no, and I think it goes into, because of out of all the challengers that Miro has done yet, Eddie can kill you on the mic too. So it it's going to be, I think it'll be a good little feud for, maybe we might get a good couple weeks, maybe a couple, maybe a couple shows because of how Dynamite and Rampage kind of can intertwine sometimes. But it was it goes into that the thing that I'm trying to say. This pay-per-view has also then relifted how the recap of the Elite has made me feel about analyzing this promotion, and it was a great way to start a new feud for after the pay-per-view.
I thought the next match stunk. I am not gonna lie. There's no other way I can say it. Mox against I gotta look how to pronounce his name here. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Satoshi Kojima. I don't know who the fuck Kojima is. I don't follow New Japan. He looked like an old guy. Regardless, Moxley, I like Mox. I hate the fucking Wild Thing music. They do it because Moxley's hero is Austin Onita, who came down to Wild Thing, the deathmatch Japanese guy. Nobody fucking knows that. That's, once again, like we've said, that's catering to a smart crowd, which is not a huge audience. So he's come down to an 80s pop song, like the fucking movie. I love Major League. Great movie. People ain't singing the Wild Thing. It's a cover. It's an 80s cover song, from a 70s song. I hate the music. I like how he comes through the crowd, a la The Shield. Over as fuck. I mean, the guy doesn't have to do anything. But the match, it was a little hard hitting, but I didn't like it. What's the point of bringing in these guys for Moxley to fight that aren't going to be there the next week? They're like novelty matches. He should start a program with one of their normal workers. But the match was stiff. It was over. It wasn't too long. I just didn't like it. I thought it was, for a Moxley match, I thought it was very boring. This was the one match I can say I disliked heavily.
I wonder if it's for you. I think it's because of you have that GC. You just also came off the coattails of a GCW new Moxley, like possible storyline in that of a more favored promotion. We're not in, like, me too. I'm not into New Japan, but when I was watching this, and it looked to me, without having that much history with them, I'm like, that looks like a classic, what I would think of a more Japanese style match. Strong hits, strong style of bop it, and look good. And then also, I'm kind of there with you on the reveal at the end, but also I think it's how would I word it? It has to be involving Japan, wanting to see how the crowd reacts to when the Forbidden Door happens this way, because you might not know him, but the crowd did sell pretty well for the gentleman. I can't remember his name either, but the gentleman who came out and
Chirico Tukanako, or no, that sounds racist. His name is, because I had to Google and said Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah, Suzuki came out, and I think he's like Grandfather Pain or something, or
sure.
I don't even remember. Sure, that sounds right. But the idea of it, these are, I don't know about Kojima. Is obviously he has 5. He said they had 5 titles, 6 of them off the not AAA, Triple Star, or whatever the fucking those other promotions are. So these are people with credibility, but also, like, for American, it was all right. I think like you said it was short. It felt good. It was like perfect. Just get this. All right, gone. And then they have Suzuki come out, and then have Suzuki put Moxley into his pile driver. I think it did well. I think it also, I think Japan wants to see their people win like that. So it's good to see them beat Moxley, for Moxley trying to be a psychopath all the time. So, hey, it's good.
What I thought was so stupid is, like I said, at the end of Game Changer, and if that's a smart crowd, I guarantee a lot of them watched the Game Changer show. It set up the death match between him and Gage. So when the music hit, and Nick Gage's his nickname, they call him the King. So when the video screen says the King, I'm like, oh, okay, here comes Nick Gage. Gonna get a little cross promoting, sell this. And I see this old broken down Japanese guy with fucking hip hop lines shaved into his head. Like I said, I'm in the minority. I'm not trying to sound like a douche, because the crowd loved him. I mean, that crowd was going crazy. Either that or the crowd just pops for everything. I don't know. I think it could be combo, but and then they hit each other, and Moxley's no sell, and they each no sell, and I was just kind of like, what the fuck is this? And then it set up their match that they're going to have Wednesday night. That might be a good stiff match. I don't know. I just, I don't know. To me, it was kind of like, I don't know. To me, Moxley going from being the fucking heavyweight champ this whole time, headlining all this stuff, to the second match on the show, I think I'm a little bitter about that too. I think he deserves better than a second throwaway feud with another company with no payoff.
I can see that. I also think, I think it's also I think about another outsider way. This will be what Cincinnati's first time probably having he is a legend, no matter what we can say on the show, that Suzuki's a legend on New Japan, but to have him be in Cincinnati, Ohio Wednesday is pretty big for Cincinnati. And like me, I know I'm in my venue would be Detroit, but the idea of you don't get these New Japan. Well, I think New Japan's been to Detroit once, but you know what I'm saying? It just it's an opportunity for us as fans to get these other things across the world while we're with this forbidden door. So I do see it. I do understand also it's just a one-off match. And then it sounds like Nick Gage will definitely be a GCW money match.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. So we'll see how it goes, but also I think it's pretty cool because for Moxley, his whole shtick he wants a New Japan wrestler to come over and fight. So if they're doing the slow, hey, we're going to have this old guy Kojima to another older guy Suzuki, maybe we'll actually get that payoff that they were trying to sell with that video promo that just didn't happen because of COVID. Maybe it might happen down the road. We'll see.
I always, and you messaged me during it, I always bitch about the lady matches. I don't bitch about my girl, Britt Baker. Britt Baker and Chris Statlander tore the fucking house down. That was the best women's match. No, it was the second. Britt Baker, I'm sorry. Britt Baker Thunder Rosa was the best women's match they've ever had, primarily because of the color. This match was good. I mean, Statlander's a beast. I mean, she is just beyond strong. Britt works her ass off. I love watching Britt because you watch somebody that's 2 years ago stunk and now they're the champ. They so deserve. The crowd is, I know she's the bad guy. The crowd does not want her to lose. They're so fucking into her. The match was good. I liked when Orange just stepped in front of the ladies, because she didn't want the outside interference. I liked how he was in the corner. They both hit all their spots. A lot of false finishes. I thought it was the second best women's match I've ever seen from the promotion. I also wanted to say it more.
If anybody who didn't watch it go watch it, but this match also made Britt look stronger because she, in my opinion, I could be wrong on how to read wrestling, but she looked like she led the whole show of the thing. Like Chris Statlander is usually strong looking, but no, they had Britt look like she was pummeling her majority of the time. Majority of the time, Chris Statlander was in a daze of like, I'm getting her ass whooped. And it's good to see because that was one of my concerns. I'm like, we're having Britt or Chris come through who has always been in that position of leveling every competition she ever had. She, like we said last week, she just slammed two women onto the ground at the same time, but then to come to the pay-per-view to be pummeled by Britt. And Britt has been doing a great, or whoever has been helping with like their storytelling of their matches, they have done great false finishes the past two title shots that she's done. Even the Red Velvet one on Rampage, I thought there was a quick moment Red Velvet was going to win because of how they were selling. Oh, she's going to go for the arm, and like, it's a broken arm. She obviously going to have to tap. And then they flipped around. Like, it worked for me. And I think whoever's helping orchestrate Britt Baker's the storytelling of her matches has been far none the best, helping a lot, because Britt does great in the ring, but obviously the storytelling has been excellent as well. And I did like the little tease to finish the match, which obviously paid off at the end. But yes,
thing I find kind of dumb is, and I get why they do it, but like Britt's the bad guy. Tony Schiavone is the good guy. Yet him and Britt are friends. Like he prays, oh, there's Britt. And I get that they kind of try to do it well, because in the beginning she mispronounced his name. If you go back and watch, she didn't do it. She just fucked up, but people, they started giving her more airtime because she was so awful. But it's like you've watched them, and I get where they're going. You've watched them build the relationship. Like he's become close to her because he hugs her and all. But it's also kind of dumb because Britt's, like I said, she's the bad guy and she's good at it. And here's Simone, he's the fucking good guy and he can't do nothing but praise her. I mean, to me, that's a little dumb for the feeling they're going, but I like Britt as a heel. I hope she stays as a heel. The audience is already determined they're not going to boo her. So something's going to have to change. She can keep that same, like The Rock did. You keep that exact same persona. You just start fighting the other heels. But yeah, no one's going to boo her. I mean, they're not. She's homegrown talent. She won't be booed. So they're going to have to flip-flop her here eventually.
Yes, I agree. Either that or they definitely have to. We might start seeing some of those like little breadcrumb things of like, we're gonna see if Britt gets booed off this. We're gonna see if Britt gets booed off that, and like, luckily, what is it? It sounds dumb, but they kept on highlighting this. Like a lot of their title reigns are around 277 days, so we still got some days for Britt's reign. So, but just the idea of it is interesting of that, but also how would I word it? I wonder if people will wonder like why they make Chris Statlander look so weak for story wise, because Britt is Britt, but also like it goes into like you have somebody look like a colossal person get to the match and then choke. She didn't choke. I don't think Chris Statlander choked. I just think Britt was just on the top of her game presentedly. It was a great match. But also, like, there are some contradicting storylines too. I like to at least say I saw.
The next match, there was nowhere to go but down after the next match. I will go on record and say this is the greatest cage match I've ever seen. It's top 3 or 4 best match I've ever seen. Could be the best thing I've ever seen. It was the payoff. I guessed it wrong. You guessed it right. It was the payoff. I always said, God damn, the Bucks is cheating every week. It's getting annoyed. It looks weak, but they paid it off. It was the cage match. It was the Bucks. It's the Lucha Brothers in the cage where you could win by pinfall or submission. You didn't have to escape the cage. I didn't know that going into it, but tornado rules, Lucha rules, whatever you like to say. A really neat entrance by the Lucha Brothers, and Bucks held on to their standard. And that crowd wanted the Bucks. They wanted them to lose. I've never seen more false finishes in my life. You've got 2 masked guys pouring blood. You got the fucking Hollywood Hogan buck that colored his hair. He's gushing blood. My God, I don't know half the stuff that Phoenix did. I don't know if there's names for it. I've never seen a cage used the way these guys did. That this was without a doubt one of the greatest matches ever, probably the best match ever from AEW so far. And that's saying a lot because they've got a lot of good matches, but this match was just, my God, buy the damn show. If you haven't already, you can buy it just for this and you got your money's worth.
Yes. This match was worth $50 on its own. It was a moment. I can't even imagine, like, how would I word it? What gets me want to buy every pay-per-view, which I've been fortunate enough. I've only missed one. It was within this last year, but I've been satisfied with AEW pay-per-views since day one. I've never had a really bad pay-per-view from them. And this is definitely shows that they will never, I don't want to say like that. They have not made me feel cheated out of my money I've always felt like I've got my money's worth. And the Young Bucks are the best tag team, probably just you can just say best wrestlers on the planet right now. And they are wrestling people that are at the same level as them. And it's only on AEW right now. I don't know how else to say it. They have made, and then Young Bucks are in that prime that they can lead. They can also carry. They can also lift whoever they wrestle. They could make right now the Young Bucks, which they did, but they got the guy hurt. There was, like we said, they made the Butch and Blade look strong, but then they got hurt. They make, who is another Buck? I bet money the Young Bucks could make is it HF? Who's Angelico and Jack Evans?
Yeah, Angelico and Jack from Matt Hardy's gang. Actually, Angelico and that Jack Evans is pretty damn talented.
Yeah, but I'm talking about they could make two fucking bugs look strong, and people care for them. And then this idea of still getting a cheat, and because that's the thing too, they made the Lucha Brothers bleed before even the shoe came in, and it looked like they made them bleed for just trying to take their mask off, which was either maybe I mislooked at it, but I'm like, that's kind of cool. They made it look like a luchador starts to bleed if you try to rip their mask off.
When so Penna, I've got a lot of indie shows that Penna was on. Penna never had a problem bleeding. I mean, Lucha Underground, he would bleed. You'd see him bleeding through the mask and everything, coughing up blood and shit. But I mean, I like the one spot a lot where Phoenix he's just been thumbtacked because they had a shoe with thumbtacks. That's a very neat weapon. And they get ready to kick Phoenix, and Pentagon goes in front of him and blocks it. And they're telling the story. Oh, the big brother's going to do it, and Penna takes the shot. You think that's the end of the match? 1, 2, no. There were so many times the Bucks hit the BTE trigger, the Meltzer grab, they hit everything. 1, 2, out of nowhere it gets broken up. I mean, I literally, and at one point when they had Penta out, I think it was Phoenix they hit. I thought for sure, here we go. That's it. 1, 2. You talk about 2 3/4, and it was like, oh my! To the point, I was like this. I was like literally kept sitting up more. I didn't know how it was going to end. I had no idea how. I thought the Bucks were going to retain, but I had no idea when it was going to end.
I thought they got me also. I thought Ray Phoenix was actually going to pull off that spot, and how they do their pile driver by having Ray jump onto the guy's ass from the top rope. I thought they were actually going to hit that spot from the top of the cage, but I don't think it would have worked. But it was. I'm like, and then I think also it sounds dumb. Do you like that they do that more? Because it does beat storytelling. Does an AEW, does the going out of the cage count, or is it just tag them? You have to pin them.
I didn't think it hurt because they didn't actually leave. Penta just did what you're waiting for as he's pointing to the top of the cage. Everybody knew Phoenix was coming off that fucker. But I think my reasoning, I think the only reason he didn't do the finish where the pile driver is he would have murdered him. I mean, I legitimately would have died. I don't think you could, but to see him just even jump onto everybody, and their cage is tall. I mean, Cody moonsaulted off it, and that's a moment you'll never forget. But when he came, and he got another easy 5 to 10 feet with the jump he made off this thing, is because their cage has a little ramp-like gimmick around it for that. But I mean, just think of people that were there live that saw that. I mean, that was. No, and it still wasn't the end of the match. They still had another sequence to do.
Yes. The reason I say anything is just because, I think I almost like that they worry about trying to pin somebody in the cage instead of always trying to escape. That's what I was trying to say. If you cut that out of my brain of how cage matches are, you're supposed to pin or get them out. So then the part with Ray Phoenix being on the tippy top with no one around, he could have, blah, blah, blah. But the spot he did is always, I don't care anybody. It was amazing. And then to still end it. And then I really enjoy when I see the passion, when that final 3 hit and just seeing the crowd blew up the fucking the roof. everyone's crying. They had Penta had two or three of his kids come like wave him over to give him hugs and like
crying through the mask. And
I mean, it gets a little weird hugging your children, and then if it is blood, because that's why I said it happened so quick. I know you said Penta can sneeze and he can bleed, I guess, but the idea like his daughter's like, "I'm proud of you, Dad," and like, yeah, like woof. But they all deserve a belt, but the people that needed the belt won, and I'm happy for it.
And I like how, I mean, yes, to agree with you, I do agree with you. I like when the pinfalls have to happen in the cage, because now I think a really shitty cage match that's considered one of the best ever was Owen Hart and Bret Hart from SummerSlam. I can't remember what year. And I hated the cage match because all they were trying to do was fucking leave. Owen would leave, Bret would grab, Bret would hit him, Bret would try to leave. That's all they fucking did. But I understand it more when I heard Bret Hart talk. He's like, well, if the purpose is to leave the cage, why the fuck you beating the guy up? You just keep trying to escape. So I understood then, the story they were telling. I thought it was boring, but like you, this was designed to keep people away, no interference. It built up a very nice long story, great payoff, and and I liked that they were pinned, and I liked it wasn't just your typical tag rule. That would have ruined it. The way they did it in that lucha style in the cage, it was perfect. And I'm going to say it right now. I think when they won the belt, they got a louder pop than when CM Punk came back.
Oh yeah, I think you can't, if you're a wrestling fan, which I believe Chicago is, that you can't. That was a moment. People can go home and talk to their grandkids about this fucking match. Like, oh, I was there. I remember seeing the fucking the 4-way of just super kicks and chops to get around and then end up like, oh, it was the whole, every moment and everything every sequence was perfect.
Yeah, it was.
And
it should have ended the show. I mean, it couldn't because of the angle at the end. But I don't care who you are, and I mean CM Punk, you can't follow what these guys did. It's impossible. Oney Omega is one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, not the greatest wrestler in the world. He couldn't follow these guys. That match, you couldn't. That's a once in a lifetime match that we got to see last night.
I'm more surprised they didn't switch it, because I think the crowd would have been still hot for this match at the end, because like obviously it's been 3 hours or something, it was, or whatever you want to describe it, but like having Kenny Omega match where the Young Bucks match was, and still do the reveal, have Adam Cole come out, have Bryan Danielson come out, but let them have the whole wave of the crowd and walk off, and you still have a great pay-per-view, because that, knowing what is going to happen in that cage match, I think I would like to see roll credits of the show with Penta with his kids. It'd be the same outcome, same effects I got. It was, but it was, maybe they also did it in a way so that people are popped and they can sound like they're tired from that pop for the next 2 matches or whatever.
In the next match, it was this, I would have followed with QT and show, but the next match was a nice, it was the casino battle royal. I mean, I prefer the men ones, but the women's ones, they're fun. I think everybody and their grandma knew Ruby Riott. Ruby Soho was going to be the Joker. I'm going to go. You picked the last one. I picked this one. I said that one's going to win. Nobody cares about any of the other ones. She won. The match set up no stories. It just was the entrance of Ruby Riott. And
it did set up one.
Which one?
It could set up Jade Cargill fighting Nyla Rose somewhere, because they were trying to work together. And Nyla just threw her out, and she's like, whoop. They're like, that one could be not saying they're going to run with it. That one is definitely the only story I could see that is like something that's off the side burner talking. And then of course they had one of those guys from Fightful or whatever it's called, whatever website that is, they did a perfect analogy. He said, Big Swole versus Diamante is my Peter Griffin versus the chicken fight I've been looking for. Because they just kept on fighting after they got out of the ring. And that's the elevation storyline that's going on, but who cares?
Yeah, it was at the end of the day, it was a throwaway. And I mean, Ruby Riot was over. Ruby Soho, I mean, they as soon as that music hit, they knew, that crowd knew she was coming. And next match, terrible. And I say terrible as Cleveland Brown would say terrible because of the ending. The match was okay. It was Jericho, MJF again. MJF, I like the little intro. You have the countdown, the old school Y2J countdown. And, you see Chris Jericho is going to lose, or whatever it said in the crowd. Man, that guy has such heat on him. I mean, Jesus, they hate him. Jericho came down. He's got the guy from Fozzy playing the guitar. And once again, pandered to the crowd to sing Judas. The match was slow. It was very much almost like an 80s style match. The MJF hit a couple. I can't tell. Jericho at one point went for a baseball slide and he got stuck in the apron. MJF was hitting him. Did MJF pull the thing to catch him, or did he just fuck up? I missed that.
I think MJF did, because that's been a thing that I've seen that he does. He caught.
It just, and I the gimmick was I always hate when you do the gimmick of, well, if I lose, I'm going to retire, because that usually means you're going to win, which I fucking hate that. But it should have ended. Wardlow came down, which explained why a second referee was there. Jack Hager comes down. No one cares about him. They have their little brawl. MJF cracks Jericho with Floyd, hits the Judas effect. 1, 2. That's how it should have won, where he pinned it. And Jericho had his foot on the ropes. That's how you end it. Jericho is now retired, and now Jericho's got to go. And you could you could drag it on forever. He gets a lawyer, and he's showing that his foot's on the ropes. And Tony Khan eventually says, you got to come back. But then just to restart it, and then I like that MJF still hit him in the armbar, and you thought maybe he's still going to win after all. But then Jericho wins. It's like, the wrong guy won. And nothing against Jericho, but he doesn't need that win. It should have ended where his foot was on the ropes, and then they could have. That's the way you bring him back. He got fucked. Well, normally you'd be retired, but we saw you got screwed. And then the Wardlow coming out explain the other ref. But how many times have you heard all your life watching wrestling when the fuck finish ends like that? And it's like, oh, there's no replays in wrestling. How does she know? How's this fucking dumbass Aubrey Edwards know the other ref isn't on the payroll to Chris Jericho, just lying to her?
That's what I was told, because I ain't gonna lie, I like the beginning, but then I kind of I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I don't even care about the outcome until whatever. But I heard, I'm like, why do you make Aubrey Edwards, who is quote unquote supposed to be the best referee they have, look dumb because of this foot thing? I don't even. So is that what happened? MJF had his foot on the rope.
Jericho had his foot on the rope, and she counted 1, 2, 3 for MJF and gave him the belt, but Jericho's foot was on the rope. The other ref says, no, you got it wrong. His foot was on the rope for 3. Hey, announcer guy, tell her, all right, restart the match. It was like, just end the damn match already. It's like, they make Aubrey look stupider every week. They had a ref in a death match, for Christ's sakes.
It looked rough of the outcome. I might need to rewatch that one just to understand, because I just like because I saw the true outcome where the Inner Circle came out and they all hugged Jericho, but again it goes into that. Why is the Inner Circle coming out besides the whole Pinnacle thing? But also they're not packaging this whole we're together forever thing anymore to make me care.
Plus the guy's leaving to go on tour with his band. Fucking yeah. You have the guy win so he can leave anyway? It's stupid.
I don't get it. I mean, of course unless they know somehow there's a bunch of pre-recordings of Rampage. That's a lot of movement around from Wednesday to Friday, even though you're trying to tour. I don't know. I didn't. It was very lackluster, and like we both said, the wrong person won because I think MJF should have won. And then you did a good idea, but also I think it goes into I think fans have some pretty interesting story styles that other fans would like, but also they just don't have working for AEW because that lawyer thing sounds funny, but also but yeah.
And people can say whatever they want. That crowd was still tired from that fucking cage match. They had not.
Oh yeah.
And this was not a match to get them back on their feet. Now, the next match was the one everybody waited for. It was probably why 90% of the people bought the pay-per-view. 7 years. CM Punk, Darby. Darby has a really cool entrance. They show him jumping out of a helicopter with a body bag and all this real punk rock skater artistic. Darby comes down. He gets like Sting said, they flew the fucker out there, probably first class, just to go fist bump. Darby comes down. Here comes Cult of Personality. Place erupted. Like I knew they would. And these guys proceeded to have a very slow match, in my opinion. I'm not used to seeing Darby have slow matches.
Yeah.
I'm my son is kind of like you. He's like, well, I just started, he's 12. He's like, I don't know who the fuck CM Punk is. I'm anxious to see what this guy can show me. He didn't show him shit. Darby did everything. And anybody that says I'm lying, watch the match again. Darby did everything. Every spot was Darby. It was the only thing that was cool. Darby went for the coffin drop and Punk it's just casually kind of like, that was neat. And he hit the go to sleep. Darby didn't need it was 17 minutes long. You mean tell me they couldn't go 3 fucking more minutes and end in a draw? And Darby lost clean, and then Sting comes down, shakes Punk's hand. I'm waiting for somebody to run in. Never happened. And once again, people are going to argue that crowd was still not as into it because they were still tired, I believe, from that fucking cage match. I was tired enough from the cage match.
I saw another tweet that said there was a moment CM Punk, which I saw him do, but I didn't connect the dots. The guy who did the tweet said he thinks CM Punk said to the crowd, he thinks he's choking. Like he's not doing his best in the ring right now, but also again, it's been his first match in 7 years. But like if CM Punk feels that he wasn't putting his best efforts in, it goes into saying like it was a mid match. Darby there, because you can, like you said exactly what I thought. Like this is the slowest match I've ever seen Darby wrestle.
Yeah,
this guy,
hero.
Yeah, Darby is a guy who uses his whole body as a weapon. So when you see him methodically walking around the ring, watching his prey, quote unquote, and then his sequences are a 30-second moment, but he's doing 27 different things in that 30 seconds because he's so fast. And then to go into these weird grapple holds with CM Punk when I'm like, and like the whole go to sleep time. I thought, because like the way the match would have went, I think CM Punk, if he said he was choking, he should have shot the ending and let Darby win with him after Darby went like this, and then should have done the coffin drop right there and beat him for showing that I did better than you during this match. But that ending sequence was okay. But like you said, or like we both said, and I didn't know how many minutes it was. So they were 3 minutes away from, they could have just done a draw.
16 minutes and 40 seconds. They were 3 minutes and 20 seconds away from a draw.
They should have just done that. I know the crowd was still yelling, "You still got it" and shit, but also when they said that, that's when he was like this. I'm joking.
Did you notice though, toward the middle of the match, after Darby had hit some of his moves, and the crowd was doing that CM Punk, and the other half Darby Allin, He was losing. I mean, everybody loves Darby. Once again, people can argue this. He was losing them. Darby was getting, he was stealing the fans. Darby was stealing the spotlight, which he always does. So I would have had Punk put him a random heel, put him against a fucking guy from Dark and Elevation, let him hit all his moves. But and now if they were worried that he had the ring rust, and so we'll give him Darby, and goddamn, don't have his first match be on a pay-per-view. Have him work a bunch of dark matches when the camera goes off the air. Just don't televise it. But I mean, did he still have it? I don't know. Like I always said, when he was the best in the world, quote unquote, he wasn't exactly in there with talent. I mean, what are you fucking feuding with? Nothing against these guys. Fucking Ryback, come on, he stinks. Cena can follow you to a good match. Undertaker, old man, is he gonna be the best in the world with these young kids that? In the 7 years have evolved 50 years. I don't know. I don't know. Is the novelty going to wear off quick? I don't know.
I think he needs to get into a rival with like someone for the elite. Don't have to be, I guess it don't have to be Kenny, but like that, the elite clearly have a way that they can carry a match. They can make, they can do whatever they need. They need somebody to look strong. Damn it, they can get that done. So, like, I think the best thing, which again, I don't even believe in that Ruby Soho should have got the win because of, I believe what they've said on AEW, if you put in the work, you get the shots. So I don't feel good knowing Ruby Soho walked in, smiled, and gets a title shot. But the idea of the CM Punk should have maybe walked in and went towards Kenny over 90-mile-an-hour Darby Allin. I think Kenny Omega is more of the pace for CM Punk to even because when if Kenny wants to, he can go up to 120 miles an hour too. But he does also those slow, methodical matches too that make it work too. So maybe it was just I think it was probably definitely good booking because they need somebody who can hit themselves to help the match go slower. Because obviously, how there's a part when CM Punk threw Darby into the ring and he fucking ran through. He fell into the little pocket and fell into the pipe of the steel bar that holds the corner. And then the part when he goes to sleep and he's so small he fell in through between the ropes. Goes whoop. And just fell out of the ring. That was pretty funny. And then it gives CM Punk that moment to go breathe and go take an inhaler in the fucking corner waiting for a 10 count.
But and you can't put, no one's going to, Punk's a natural heel. It's been 7 years. Nobody's going to fucking boo him. Not right now. Maybe in another year they'll boo him. They're going to boo him now. They're not booing Darby. Darby could have turned heel on him and beat up Sting. That crowd wouldn't have cared. It was, like you said, put him in there with Kenny or Gallows, Anderson. I mean, these guys can all work, but the crowd was happy. Punk won. I still say the crowd was a little tired from the cage, but then they come to the main event. Kenny Omega, Christian Cage.
We had Paul White.
Oh, I'm sorry. QT. We have Paul White against my man, QT Marshall, who got cheated. Big Slow comes out to his I'm Not the Big Show theme song. He comes out and he does the old punch to everybody. QT goes dive off the ropes. He catches him, does the choke slams him. 1, 2, 3. This was just to get the crowd to catch their breath before the main event. I would have had it sooner in the card, but I mean, it fit its place. You got to get everybody a little chance to go to the bathroom. Why did the Gun Club turn on the Big Show? We don't know, because they sure as fuck didn't come out to help QT. So there was they turned on an announcer. So there was absolutely no rhyme or reasoning. Everybody knew this match was going to be about 2 minutes long and that Slow was going to win. That's what happened. And the crowd cared less. No, I mean, half the crowd was probably getting a CM Punk ice cream bar, going to the bathroom for the main event. It was exactly what we said it would be. A couple minutes long. Boom, boom, choke slam, done.
maybe I hear the crowd a little different. Like the crowd, I think it goes into. I think they pop because also it's a live event. Not crazy. Nothing compares to that cage match. Nothing compares to the CM Punk entrance. But I'm talking about maybe you are right that maybe just Chicago, like they'll pop for anything, like woo, because they. But it was all right. It was just a typical squash match, big man, and like take whatever QT did do all right for what he had to do, just a joke match. But again, yeah, I didn't like that part too. Like, why did you have the Gun Club hit Big Show on TV just to have him not happen? Like, I was tweeting Delvin also. I'm like, where's the Gun Club? He goes, home. Like,
and this big angle, they set up the angle where he helps Schiavone, and here comes the Gun Club. He's a goddamn announcer on a YouTube show. He's not a weekly wrestler, nor does anybody want him to be.
So unless this storyline is going to finish on Elevation, since that's where Gun Club usually wrestles, I'll be fine with that. This should not happen on Dynamite. This should not happen on Rampage ever again, but we'll see.
Then you hit the main event. I like that even though the cage match should have been the main event, the heavyweight title is the most important. It's got to be the main event. Omega, we've said, have a good match with the fucking stool. He came down. The only thing that hurt this match was everyone and their grandma knew Omega was going to win. There's not a person alive that believed Christian Cage was going, with the exception maybe of his grandparents and his parents, that thought he had a snowball's chance in hell, because they gave him the Impact belt. That's all he needs. He's not championship material. That's not a pay-per-view main event. The match was okay. I thought the Rampage match was a lot better, actually. A slower pace. The crowd, once again, I'm going to say it, at the end, the crowd was on fire, but at the beginning, through the entire match, the crowd was still fatigued from that cage match. They had a standard wrestling match, so back and forth, a few false finishes, but like I said, the match they did on Rampage, I thought was 10 times better than this match.
Yes, because also I think when story, like that's the magic of wrestling, when story in the match intertwine. So the idea Rampage had the chair, and like the idea is trying to swindle up the gimmick to come, because I think that happened. Because then this one, the Good Brothers try to interfere and get smacked around and stuff, but then Kenny being Kenny and just worked, and they obviously one wing angel, bing bang boom, and then the magic really happened at the end. But yes, Christian does not deserve the AEW belt. I think Impact is a good spot, to be all elite, be elite in affecting the forbidden door of this, but also at the same time, I don't know. I guess it is a weak opponent, but also, what are you going to do in the sense of situations? Oh, wait, you could told your boss that you're having a baby, and you could have had a 6-month build to this compared to this abrupt one. But the ending, though, was two amazing pops. They did it right. They did the right pops, how they did it.
Oh, and they got us, because Kenny Omega, he wins, of course, and he's like, the old heel promo, and I've beaten everyone. There's no one left to beat. The lights go out. And as soon as he said there's no one left to beat, that crowd was all going, yes. I mean, they knew it, but the lights go out. There's still yes. Adam, I didn't see it. I thought he would re-sign Adam Cole. And he got to keep the name. And he got Adam Cole, baby, and he's all elite. He comes down. You're like, oh, shit. This is even. And I'm looking at my kid. I'm like, this is even better. Adam Cole versus Omega. And in the meantime, the Jurassic Express had come down to help Christian Cage, but they all got beat up because now the whole elite's in there. Adam Cole comes down, He's getting ready to get in Omega's face, and he fucking kicks Jungle Boy right in the head.
Yeah.
They hug, and Adam Cole is all elite, baby.
Does they got the Young Bucks kissing cheeks?
Oh, they played it good. And then Omega once he's like, well, see, we fooled all your marks and everything. He's like, I must bid you adieu. And then you hear da-da-da-da. Yes, yes. And that's when Bryan Danielson, as they call him by his real name, even Jim Ross, your business is about to pick up. And he came down, you had the big brawl. He's hitting all his kicks. He hits the Shining Wizard. The whole crowd's yes, yes, yes. That, oh my, two surprises. And one being a bad guy, one being a good guy. Holy shit, that's perfect. No one's ever done it that perfect. I'll give Tony Khan, if he really is the only booker, which I believe he is, god damn, that was a home run and a half. I mean, you took, like I said, nothing was following that cage match. Nothing. And to end a pay-per-view with those two surprises, with that explosion, you forgot, for a while, you forgot about the cage match. It was like, oh my fucking God, how awesome is this?
Yeah, no, and I like also Bryan Danielson's new theme with a little bit of the hip hop mix. Fucking great. I'm like, I got pumped hearing that. And he looked good too. Like, I know it's just like the quick bashing, couple kicks, but seeing him be able to do his flying knee, and it looked like he stuck it a little bit to the guy, because it looked like it looked good. And I'm more happy to see that, and also some of the outcome, or some of the press releases after, like Adam Cole kind of discussed and said, which Adam Cole's definitely a very nice person, and I think it also involves, there is something with WWE right now that they've been very kiss assy to them. Because like Adam Cole goes, listen, I had a really great 4-year experience there, but I was coming to All Elite because of, I don't know, you fucking Britt Baker. So I'm gonna come to where my life's at, and also he had all his friends there.
You can't do your if you work for WWE, you can't do that outside. So, well, you can't do your Twitch channel anymore. Motherfucker, I'm making 6 figures a year. Fuck you. I'll go to the company that lets me. I think that played into, but yeah, like you said, he's back there with his wife.
Was he not allowed to do Twitch because he's part of the Up Down Down crew with Xavier, and so obviously he had T-shirts through Up Down Down, and like I'll give you that. Maybe that was part of the straw. Yeah, we'll give you $1 million a show, but also will you not do this Twitch stuff? He goes, no. Wonder if that was part of it.
I really think that All Elite. I mean, I can Google. Moxley made. I give him for example. Moxley made about $2 million during his whole run with WWE. That's a nice chunk of money.
Yeah,
I've heard that he's making $6 million a year working for AEW. What's he work twice a week? I mean, CM Punk was he $3 million? He wasn't making no $3 million in WWE. Nobody's making $6-7 million a year in WWE. I don't care if you're Roman Reigns, Lesnar, and Lesnar's the one with the schedule that compares. Hopefully they don't hemorrhage Khan for money, because I'm pretty sure Daddy Khan would be like, oh, we're not making any money. You're closed. You don't get to be a billionaire by losing money. But I mean, if you think about it, though, Adam Cole, which I was bitching before it came on. Yeah, Pro Wrestling Tees, I'm bitching about you this week. It comes down a shirt that says All Elite Baby. Minute I did, I say, oh, new shirt, gonna order it, Labor Day sale.
Me too.
Well, it ain't fucking up yet, because there's a Labor Day sale. It's gonna go up tonight after the sale, or tomorrow, I bet. But think about it, though. You were a debuting guy. Here to get a shirt. I guarantee you, Bryan Danielson, I guarantee both those guys by the end of the week will have 10 shirts each. Because it's a t-shirt company, and they're gonna pay off contracts with this stuff. It's amazing.
Another thing with the post press stuff, I keep saying it wrong. Bryan Danielson, he also said he said I like WWE. I left because we also know it's because he wanted to do New Japan events, but he said is because it's the day one AEW wrestlers who have sold me this idea of how AEW is. And then also he said the fans of AEW are on another level and all that shtick. But let's call a spade. It's definitely because you want to do New Japan stuff as well as WWE stuff. But you can't have your cake and eat it too there. So he came over, and I think he's probably also. I think he still has a lot of fuel in the tank. I don't think he's a burnout guy from AEW or from WWE. I think he'll be a great mix in this group. To be honest, I think he should have been what Christian's shtick is. He could probably run that, outwork any one guy.
That should have been the gimmick there, because he at least goes like this. He's animated. He don't just go. God, I fucking hate Christian. But and I like now. Let's just put fucking Brian. Put him with Omega. Fuck it. Put him with the best one, and then get Adam Cole to work a program with CM Punk, because now Punk's automatically going to be over. Adam Cole is very, very good. If Punk has any rust, that's going to get it out. That's, and now you got a good guy and a bad guy. Yes. And clearly there's some plans for Jungle Boy. Every time and I love Jungle Boy. Every time that fucker's out there, Jim Ross makes it a point 37 times to say,
Jungle Jack Perry,
future champion. He's gonna be a future champion. That's a blue chipper right there. Future champion. It's like, okay, we get it. He had a great match with Omega, but God, it's only because Jim Ross can't say where he played football. So he's got to say future champion. He can't say Jungle Boy, great linebacker from Los Angeles University. So now I just got to say he's definitely going to be a future champ one day. Jim Ross didn't tell me where anybody played football on the pay-per-view last night, and he didn't say bowling shoe ugly. So Jim Ross, you weren't on your game last night.
He said Jungle Jack Perry for 6 months when they first started. So he has to probably say, I love this kid, Jungle Jack Perry.
Who the fuck was that guy in the crowd that kept holding up a cardboard cutout of fucking Conrad Thompson's head? I goddamn, he paid that guy to do it. I mean, I noticed somebody had a sign at the end, new shirt available, ProWrestlingTees.com is my favorite side of the night. But I noticed a lot of the fans, they were all masked up. I think they said, now you got to be masked in that arena, which that didn't put a damper on anything. But yeah, to have one of the greatest matches ever, to still make the crowd even more alive at the end with two surprises, that was, I mean, that truly is lightning in a bottle. That ain't happening ever again. Two debuts like that. It was perfect. Even Jim Cornette ain't gonna be able to make fun of this one.
Oh no. WWE would sell his grandchildren to have this type of energy at his show ever again. Like it is hard to figure out. There's probably people working in lab coats for WWE trying to figure out the science of how to get that pop to happen for them, which will never happen because of their thoughts. But it was an A. Even with there's 3 faulty matches. One of them for my faulty is just because I don't support the idea of a guest like Soho winning, because I feel that put in the work shit. I just believe in that Cody Rhodes thing he said since the first fucking time they were at a podium in Las Vegas. You put in the work, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm not slurring my words because he has a lisp. You know what I mean?
I just can't put in the work right now because I got to film a reality show.
Yeah.
So my opponent,
my opponent doesn't have to put in the work because I'm doing Road to the Top, and also the whatever the TBS thing is,
or whatever. Yeah, the Kong show
with
thing.
Burt Kreischer.
The MJF match, Jericho match stunk because of the outcome to me. The wrong guy won. I'll put that as a low grade on that. That was the lowest grade I'll get on the pay-per-view was that match because the wrong guy won.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still an A because of the cage match extended it to an A automatically. We could have stopped. There could have been like the TV could have went on the fritz and died after that match. I'd be like, that was a great pay-per-view.
If I had to pay $50 to watch that match, if I had to pay $100 to watch that match, I would have been happy. That could have been the only match. They could have done a 3.5-hour video package with that match. You'd have got your money's worth. That match is God. I can't praise it enough. Be talking about it forever.
Yeah. Kudos to Tony. Kudos to the whole team. We are going to be here. I'm looking forward to now what is the next 2 months till November 13th for Full Gear. Let's see what you're running, because we have at least a good month of no real quote unquote storylines pushing to Full Gear, because they usually only need like a month. I'm looking forward to this mid-September, early October run of their TV shit, just to get to see how they do with these 2 episodes, the 2 shows.
And now you're going to have Daniel Bryan in the mix. CM Punk's going to be in a mix. Adam Cole's in the mix. Cody Rhodes should be done. He should be back. Adam Page should be back. I mean, there's so much that's going to happen between now and then. And already this week, I don't care about John Moxley versus Masahito Chono. I already forgot who it was. That's a real wrestler, by the
Suzuki.
way. His name. Suzuki. I don't care. But I'll tell you what, Andrade Pac on Rampage, we were just bitching. I said this Rampage is a fucking jobber show. Now we got a match. This week. And that's going to be a hell of a match. You know, we got the Orange Cassidy storyline with the Hardy family. A lot of stuff. Who are the Lucha Brothers? Who's going to be? Are the Bucks going to go right back to them? I hope not. I think the Bucks need to stay on that title picture. Is the Jurassic Express now? Are we going to have 2 face teams going off against each other? It's a lot of possibility. I mean, they opened 100 storyline possibilities last night. In the main event status alone, there's 100 storylines. A big umbrella can unfold. It was such a well-booked show. I have to give it an A. Cage match and ending alone make it worth the money.
Yes. No. Oh, man. They have a blank slate. I mean, Grant, because I'm just going by what they've done with other, like the women's championship and also some of their like the men's championships. They have the Young Bucks, no title, just out running amok. They might affect the Lucha Brothers the first couple. They might do a rematch. I don't see that because of what they've done in the past, but they probably go back down to the bottom and start to working their way up. Start maybe pushing some of these other talents to get more matches with the Lucha Brothers. It's a great, again, pay-per-view, especially in AEW pay-per-views. It's a great time to jump in, get on the bandwagon for the next storyline while we march towards Full Gear. Yeah,
I can't put it over enough. You know, I'm glad everybody's been watching us, you know, like and subscribe. You know, here's your special show. We'll be back again next Saturday for the weekly recap. Who knows what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about a lot of new storylines, so that's going to be a good one.
We do. I'll even say it here because this is special. Like, if we ever get, like, I don't know how many subscribers you got.
675.
If we can push up to 1,000, like even 800,000.
800,000 would be fucking awesome.
800,000, yes, but like 800 or 1,000. I'll say 1,000 because that's usually. Let's be honest for the listeners. If we get to 1,000, that's what it helps the whole channel stuff. But I don't see where I'll put chips in. We can do like a fucking t-shirt giveaway from Pro Wrestling Tees or whatever they want, or like I saw a crate, like maybe like an AEW crate because I think it's you can get like a one-time one for $35. Boom, just for a thanks. Just subscribe to the show or the channel. It helps out.
We'll see how many subscribers we get from this. And before the next pay-per-view, we'll announce our first contest.
Okay.
And I got to end with some people. I can maybe get some autographed stuff, folks.
Yeah.